Hey, welcome guys to another week's video. I'm actually going to share with you guys how to stand out in a marketplace even though there's a lot of competition and a lot of people are doing the exact same thing you're doing. So when I was actually a wholesaler, when I used to be in real estate investing, what we would do is actually go after the people that were being foreclosed on. So what's called the foreclosure list. And what was typically happening during that time was 2 weeks to 3 weeks before the actual foreclosure auction that was going to happen in Houston, which is like the first Tuesday of the month, a list would come out of all the people that were being foreclosed on in that upcoming auction. And what people would do is actually mail out flyers to each of those people that were going to be foreclosed on and actually solicit to see if they would be interested in selling property prior to the sale. And so what we would do is actually print out thousands and thousands of postcards, and we would mail them out to all these people, and we'd mail out 3 or 4 of them in the span of 2 weeks to actually get them to call us to actually meet them at their house, and we can discuss the price of what we can actually buy it at. So as you can imagine, with all the advent of all the training and real estate investing programs out there, everybody's actually going after this type of market. And so that's the easiest way to get into real estate investing, which is called wholesaling. And to explain wholesaling is what we do is actually go put a house under contract and then basically sell that contract to another investor who actually wants to buy the house and actually rehab it themselves. All we were doing is actually putting a house under contract and then just selling it. So we weren't actually taking hold of the property or taking ownership whatsoever. So the hard part about this is that the cost of entry is relatively low, and so there's so much competition. And when we actually would show up to a typical person's house, they would have a stack of postcards sitting on their dining table, and then what they would do is actually go through each one of them, call those people, and then set up meetings. And they'd set up 3 or 4 meetings. By the end of it, they'd actually have all these guys bidding against each other. And so what you would end up being is trying to outbid the next wholesaler that's trying to buy their house. And so what we realized very quickly is that we can't compete at this level. There's always people that want to pay more for the property than we were, because we ran strict numbers and we wanted to be conservative. And so we had all these really aggressive other wholesalers that were paying way more than we were just to get the house, and we weren't willing to pay that because we actually knew that it wasn't even profitable paying it for that way, but we were not getting the deals we needed to get. So what did we do? We became solution providers for these people, not just in trying to sell their house. A lot of people just think of it as a transaction. We don't want to do that because we knew that we were never going to win the price war, so we actually had to figure out a different way to do it. And that way was to actually sit down with them, talk to them, and actually figure out if we can be the person that they can trust, that they knew that we were in there for their best interest. And when you do that, and you actually have to really care, because if people don't feel that you actually care and that you're there to help them, that you're doing something that's in their best interest, and if they don't feel that, they don't want to work with you. And then you end up being just another commodity to them where they are just looking at the price. Sorry to interrupt the video, but I wanted to share with you a new resource and a new free training that I've created just for you. So if you are actually in any phase of your business and you're overwhelmed by all the things you're having to do as a business owner, as a new entrepreneur, and you're not sure what you need to focus on in your business, well, I have this training where it actually walks you through in a worksheet and a 15-minute video training where I walk you through step by step through the worksheet and help you figure out what phase of business you're truly in, and then what you need to focus on in each of those phases so that you are actually taking action on the things that truly move the needle in your business, and not just doing everything that because it makes you feel that you're busy, but it actually makes a difference in your business. So if you're interested in the free training, just click the link below. Training is actually called the Roadmap to Your First 100K. I'm super excited about it. I hope you enjoy it. And so what we were doing was actually trying to figure out what else are they having problems with. So we realized right away that most of these people are being foreclosed on and they're about to lose their house. And so they're in other financial straits obviously as well. They haven't paid their mortgage in 6 months or more. And so they're in dire straits and financially, as well as now they're about to lose their house. And so now they actually have no place to go to. And so what we would do is actually help them locate a new place to stay, actually even arrange for movers to come get their stuff and actually make their transition to their next home easier. And in doing so, we actually solved a lot of their biggest frustrations and their concerns and their problems. Is yes, they can sell their house, but where do they go after that? And we looked at it from the holistic point of view, and we actually genuinely cared and really wanted them to get off on the best foot when they leave this property, because we realized that they weren't going to be able to stay in the house any longer. They didn't have the money. So by doing that, by differentiating ourselves, by showing that we truly cared, we differentiated ourselves, and we won so many contracts against people that were building $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 more than we were, yet we still got the contract because they ended up trusting us. They felt that we were in there to really help them out of their problem. We were not treating them as another transaction. And when you guys are in business, when you guys are helping your client, sometimes your product or service may not be the best for them, but if you're genuinely there to help them get the best of what they truly need, it may not be your product, it may be something else. But if you truly ask those questions, really dig deeper than just the surface level, and then after you've digged one level deep, dig another level deeper, because there are things that they're not willing to tell you right away. But if you truly ask and genuinely listen to what they're really saying, and sometimes you'll realize it's the things that they're not saying that they really need help with as well. And so if you guys truly listened and actually listen with a compassionate ear and an empathetic ear, they're gonna open up to you. And when they do, you're gonna be able, if you're able to solve that problem and be there for them, and what you're gonna do is differentiate yourself. You're gonna stand out among a sea of commodities. This is something that I recently helped one of my clients with. He was actually a wholesaler as well. And when he sat down, he realized this potential seller was not gonna wanna sell his house to this guy for the price that they were willing to sell it for. And so he actually just really sat down and talked to the seller. And what he realized was that this guy actually has the money to rehab the property, but he didn't have the time to. My client offered to help him sell the house by actually helping GC the project and actually helping him get the renovations done, and then they would actually get a big cut of the profits, because this guy frankly didn't have time, although he did have the money, but he needed to sell it. And so by doing this, he was actually able to sign this guy onto a partnership agreement. The seller was actually paying for all the rehab for the property, and then was giving him a big cut of the sale of the property, of the profits, even though he's actually put no money into the deal himself. And there was almost zero risk for him to do this project with this seller. So by just sitting and asking more questions, he ended up making $50,000 on this deal with almost zero risk. And so he wrote a letter and thanked me for it, and it was absolutely so cool to see that. But that's what you can do if you actually just sit there and truly cared about the people. Find out what their problem is 2 levels down, because that's what you're truly solving for. You're not solving for the surface level problem. And if you just do that, everybody can do that. Not everybody can solve the 1 level down or 2 levels down. If you can do that, guys, you will actually stand out in the marketplace, and you will never need to market again, because they're going to refer you to their friends, because you are somebody that really cares and have their best interest in mind. And when people feel that, they're going to always want to work with you. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. This is something that I was working on recently, and I'm just really happy to share this with you guys. If you guys know anybody that you would think that would benefit from today's message, please share it with them, and make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, as well as click on the notification bell so that you guys get notified when we actually release another video. All right, hope you guys have a great week. Take care. Bye-bye.